Of course.
There we go.
Thank you for recording. Yes. And thank you all for joining this breakout room. My name is Cabret, and I am a senior community partnerships manager at Girls Who Code. Like I said, it really just means that I work with community partners, educators, anyone and everyone who's interested in starting a Girls Who Code club to help them launch their club and bring our free curriculum to their students. And so I want to walk you through an overview of the two programs I highlighted. But if you have other questions, if you've heard of Girls Who Code, if you have very specific questions, definitely feel free to, interrupt. I'm happy to answer them along the way. But to start, I just wanted to outline the three coding programs for students in grades 3 through 12. So we have 3rd through 12th grade clubs. So our clubs program is probably our most popular program. It's probably the program you've heard about. Launching a Girls Who Code club is very easy. You really just have to determine a volunteer at your school, at your site, whatever that might be, who will volunteer to run through the curriculum with students. Now, because we know that that's a time commitment and it's certainly there's a learning curve there if you've never, done coding before. We really try to make the experience as seamless as possible outside of the time commitment that you're providing. So we help with providing the curriculum for free. That's both for the educator and students. So you and your students would have access to this 120 hours worth of curricula. And that is divided into 3rd through 5th grade and 6th through 12th grade curriculum. So let me just go to this next slide here to give you a little bit of a breakdown. The 3rd through 5th grade club program is definitely meant to be an introduction. It's a really wonderful entry point for younger students to learn more computational thinking concepts and have a little bit of a primer before they dive into coding languages. It's based on a book club model, which is great for students because that means you can purchase books and have them read through the books and through the stories, both a nonfiction and fiction book. It reinforces the computational science thinking. And then you have activities that we prepare and have designed lesson plans that are already set up and ready to go by session for you to follow through. So that's the 3rd through 5th grade curriculum. We recommend meeting for about 45 to 60 minutes each time you're meeting with your club and for at least 5 sessions. Now, the 6th through 12th grade program, as you can imagine, is a little bit more comprehensive. It dives into more details about the coding program because they're older students. For that program, we actually recommend 10 sessions at a minimum for 1 to 2 hours per session, only because there's more content and you probably need more time to go through it. It is designed for all levels. So that means that while 3rd through 5th grade, of course, we imagine students at that age, it's all beginners. The 6th through 12th grade, if they have a little coding experience, that's totally fine. There are different lessons plans based on your experience. And so students should be able to find activities and new coding skills, even if they've already had some coding experience. And then lastly, what I'll highlight about that curriculum is that it's really flexible. We provide the curriculum and we also provide a club fund as a resource. Let me go over to the resources that you're provided. The club fund is fulfilled through an Amazon wish list. So basically the process is you sign up to start a club. Once you register at least 3 students and you kind of register them as in they're part of your club, kind of enrolling them, you are then eligible for a $500 club fund. Because the program is free and there's no cost associated with starting a club, this fund is really just meant to enhance this club experience and make sure that any costs associated with, buying snacks or creating a better after-school experience is easy to do and we're able to support with. In addition to that, we do have a lot of community resources, right? We know that Girls Who Code clubs are definitely focus on coding languages and learning and walking away with technical skills. But so often we hear students talk about how this experience really just helps them see role models, right? What we were talking about in that first session, understanding that there is a place for them in the tech world and that this is a career path that they can pursue if they're interested in it, especially for young girls, of course. But the clubs program is actually open to students of all genders. So we have lots of co-ed Girls Who Code clubs. It's a fantastic program for boys too. They're learning coding skills. They're also learning about female role models in tech, which definitely doesn't hurt. And then in addition to that, we do try to have a lot of community resources for the facilitator. So for this volunteer who will be running through the club curriculum, we make sure that your experience is supportive and that you don't feel like you are running through this curriculum on your own, especially if you are also new to coding. I really want to stress that you don't have to have any coding skills. They only help if you already do have some, of course, but the intention is really to help facilitators feel like role models themselves and they're learning alongside their students. And we hear a lot of feedback from folks who are doing this for the first time, and their students get to kind of watch an example of someone trying to learn something new. Coding is a language, you make mistakes, and it's really helpful to actually have a facilitator or some adult who's leading this club experience modeling what we want the students to see. So that is the clubs program, volunteer led. You have a club fund, you have support in terms of curriculum and any technical needs that you need along the way, divided into that 3rd through 5th grade and 6th through 12th grade model. Now I want to talk briefly about the other program that I mentioned, which is our 2023 virtual summer programs. Now, there are 2 programs listed here as well for this year, and I want to emphasize that both of them are free for students to apply to, and they're different from our clubs program in that there's no volunteer needed from your community. This is a summer program that students participate in on their own, and we run the entire program. The 2 programs here, the Summer Immersion Program and the Self-Paced Program, both run over this summer. Applications are open for both of these programs until March 24th. So the remainder of this month, students can definitely find time to apply to those programs, before that deadline. The Summer Immersion Program is a 2-week opportunity to learn through daily class instruction. So the main distinction here is that for the Summer Immersion Program, students will need to be on their computer daily, logging on, getting to talk to other students and their educators, as opposed to the self-paced program where students can do it at their own pace. There is no daily live instruction. They do have lots of support from a teaching team and they can reach out anytime with questions, but they're largely working on their own and they have 6 weeks to complete the material and to earn their coding badges. So those are the main distinction between those 2 programs. One thing I want to highlight is eligibility for this program. So while our clubs program is open to students of all genders, our summer programs is actually only eligible or only open to girls and non-binary students, specifically in high school, so 9th through 12th grade, because the program is also focusing on giving students access to, getting some insight into a career in tech. We have our corporate partners who come in and support these classrooms by doing panel discussions, exclusive virtual events where students get to network, ask questions, and learn about more of the day-to-day of what it is to be a software developer, what it is to be an engineer. So because of that focus on career, this program is focused on 9th through 12th graders. Girls and non-binary students are eligible to apply. The last thing I will call out in terms of benefits or why students, should apply for this summer is that for the summer immersion program, because students are logging on daily, we help with any tech needs. They just have to indicate on their application if they need support with a laptop or Wi-Fi capabilities. And they are also eligible to apply for a $300 grant. Now, again, because there are no costs associated with applying. The application is free. This grant is really just is intended to offset any costs that students might be losing out on because they're taking us up on this offer. So maybe they might have had a summer job, but they want to take 2 weeks to dedicate to this live daily instruction. So we want to make sure that they're, compensated in some way or don't feel like they're missing out on some sort of other opportunity over the summer. And I will say that the summer immersion program has 3 sessions. So there's one in June, that's 2 weeks, one in July, that's also 2 weeks, and one in August. So on their application, they can indicate, I'm available for the June one, but not the July one, to help with their placement. That was a lot of information, much more quickly than I typically share it. So I'm happy to pause for a moment here to just take any initial questions about either how to start a club or what the clubs program is, or the summer immersion program and self-paced program and how high school students can apply.
I mean, it looks like it's on the next slide. But like, is there an application? Is there a flyer or something I could share with some of our girls for these 2 summer programs?
Yes. Thank you, Mary. You definitely segued us very nicely into the next slide. Yes, there are flyers that I can share. There is an application. What I'll say is I would love to draw folks' attention to this link here. You can either email me today or sign in to this link. I really just want to make sure I have your contact info, and I can send you a comprehensive email with all the links that you need. Very quickly at the top, there is the club application link. So girlswhocode.com/clubs apply. When you are filling out the club's application, it is really very brief and meant to just collect information about, is this a 3rd through 5th grade club or a 6th through 12th grade club, and understanding who the adult in the room is, who is that facilitator, and where it's hosted. So it shouldn't take you too much time. And then similarly for the students who are applying to the summer programs, the application is also very brief, trying to understand their previous CS experience and how they hope, or what they hope to learn in this program. So I would say, like, the deadline being March 24th. I know it seems like we're already in March, but they definitely have a lot of time to apply for it, even though we know students can procrastinate or take their time with things. I think that even if they, started that application later this month, they'd be able to complete it, and they would hear by early April if they were accepted into the program. We also have a wait list for that program that we make sure to, try to pull in as many students as possible based on seats available. So I would say if your students have any interest at all, I really encourage them to apply. And I hope that they feel encouraged that, there's a great chance for them to be in this program. The last thing I'll say is that on both the applications, there is a question that asks if you are affiliated with a community partner. So when you're filling out the club's application as an adult or as an educator, you will have a question that says, are you affiliated? And you are. You are affiliated with Mason, with the Missouri After School Network, and that is listed on the club's application. So just indicate that you're part of that network so that we can see how many folks get started, and also kind of build a little bit of a community of Girls Who Code Club facilitators in this group. Similarly, for the student side, students should also select Mason as their community partner, because any student that applies that is affiliated with one of our community partners, they kind of have a leg up. They have priority consideration into the program. So I definitely encourage them to remember to indicate that they are with this network, or that's how they heard of it, because that will affect their application and give them kind of a leg up to be accepted into the program. In terms of flyers, I'm happy to add those to the chat. I'll just pull them out directly and put the links in there. But if you sign up or email me today, I'm happy to also send you many more links to helpful resources for both programs. Any other questions? The list of the times for the live classes. Yes, I can actually give that to you right now. So here is the flyer for the summer program. Apologies for the long link. And then here it is for our clubs program. And you can feel free to forward these flyers to anyone who is interested in your network or at your school. Here is the clubs one. And I'm going to also pull up the link to our FAQ for our summer programs, where students can find all the answers to eligibility questions as well as the times. So let me pull up the different sessions. Okay, I'm going to include that link in the chat as well. Any other initial questions about how to get started with either program, or maybe, not necessarily how to get started, but questions about what each program entails or what it means to be a club facilitator? I feel like typically I want to make sure that I ease any hesitations about starting a club, just because I know that it can feel daunting to say that you're going to take on a curriculum, but we really do provide lesson plans that are designed for someone who doesn't have any coding experience and who is really just trying this alongside their students. And in addition to like the conversation we were having earlier with our speakers at the top about role modeling, we have a lot of material embedded in the curriculum is really focused on just that. So there's coding and technical language instruction. And then there's also activities and women in tech spotlights that we incorporate that are really just designed to be an opportunity for these students to see different female leaders in tech and to understand that tech doesn't just mean engineering or software developing, right? Like that if you're interested in music, there's ways to combine that with your interests. If you're interested in arts, there's ways to combine that. So we really try to incorporate a lot of real life relevant examples of different female leaders in tech so that they can see whatever interest, whatever background, whatever exposure, whatever socioeconomic background that you have, there really is a pathway for you in this career. That's certainly the intention of both programs. Any other questions? Okay, great. I'm glad that you joined the session. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming in terms of the information. I'm more than happy, like I said, to connect after this if it's something that got your gears turning, but you want to talk to colleagues or other folks on your team. More than happy to also kind of share some overview of our programs with anyone else on your team who needs it. But feel free to email me, schedule a call, any questions that you have. The only deadline to keep in mind is the summer programs deadline for high school students. For the clubs program, you can apply all year round. And when you complete the application, you can actually indicate, I might be completing it now in March, but I don't plan to start my club until, September of this year or October, because we know we're planning for the next school year. So we will send you communications and support closer to when you indicate that you'll actually launch this club as opposed to when you apply. And I really encourage you to apply early because that way you'll get access to that curriculum and the full suite of resources ahead of time. And I find that most first-time club facilitators really appreciate just seeing all the resources we provide for a few weeks, reviewing it, sifting through it, and then they feel a lot better about the support that they have before they launch their first club. So if you can give yourself a few weeks to kind of review all of the materials beforehand, if you have that, I'd highly recommend it.
Well, thank you very much for sharing this information. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.